Alright, YouTube, Hillary Clinton has just made probably the most monumental mistake she could ever make. She's going to poke the hornet's nest, by which I mean she's going to get the ire up of literally hundreds of thousands of battle-hardened trolls online by making a speech trying to sort of compare Trump with and tie him in with the alt-right movement, which I guess, according to her and her shills, is scary or inordinate or evil because they actually want to put our nation first and not send all of our money overseas to corporations and, foreign governments, especially, Egypt, Pakistan, greatest ally, things like that. She would be well warned not to do this. There are over 9,000 dedicated shit posters just from Canada alone on 4chan's Politically Incorrect. Over 9,000 of them. Consequences will never be the same. Her shills will be utterly overwhelmed in a tidal wave of pure hate and degeneracy. Um, Especially, can you imagine if all the really, the true degenerates of the internet on some other notorious pages there get involved, which they may very well do, then it just increases that tidal wave of shit posting even more. How many CTR shills is she fielding? I hope it's in the high tens of thousands, because otherwise you're not going to make any inroads at all, and you're going to need to do a huge amount of cover on every social media platform during and after this speech. What you're going to end up doing is alienating more of the younger voting base by doing this. Hillary Clinton is making a huge mistake. She's falling right into the trap of the alt-right, and even groups like Reason and Hot Air and some of these groups, yeah, they pride themselves in being literally like, oh, well, we just want sanity. We want, a higher level of political discourse and not all this mudslinging, which never actually happens, but that's, I guess, what some of these groups want. They're saying it's a bad idea. Huh, you're just going to give a boon to the alt-right. Well, if you're in the alt-right movement, if you're a populist, a nativist, kind of a quasi-nationalist, you're celebrating right now. You are absolutely awestruck at the stupidity of the Clinton campaign, and you're probably balling up your fists and biting your tongue trying not to shout with glee right now. That's exactly what Clinton's doing. It's like when the when the corporate media machine began attacking the libertarian movement, and it still persists in doing this suicidal bullcrap. Gary Johnson suddenly skyrocketed. Now they're going after Trump. What do you think's going to happen? It emboldens the alt-right. It probably causes it to grow. Because what it does is it takes this boring geriatric old crone whose head spins every time she gets a shot in the ass with whatever drugs they've got her doped up on, and her head will be spinning 10 times worse after she ends up tangling with 4chan alone, let alone all the other sites that are going to join in the fray and all the independent shit posters of the internet, all hundreds of thousands or millions of them, jumping down her throat and bombarding all of her shills online with absolute utter hate. How is she going to deal with this? I don't think that it's a good idea. You're jumping for joy if you're on the alt-right. And you've got this really old woman who can't even manage an email server, probably can't even tweet on her own, has her staff do it for her, as the face of the anti-alt-right. It would be a better idea to put like Obama there. Yeah, corporate, yeah, kind of a little bit boring now that the magic of his smooth jive talk has worn off, but at least he's not geriatric, at least he's coherent most of the time. He does the thing. Occasionally, is still a 10 times a better speaker than Hillary Clinton will ever be, and ever has been since at least the late 1990s. It couldn't be better for the alt-right. Almost looks like she's trying to sabotage the actual idea of it dying down when corporatists, especially, when the face of the establishment herself attacks something, it becomes cool. So not only do you get the trolls attacking you, not only do you get the politically aware on the alt-right going after you, and now all of a sudden all of the sort of mind-numbed sheep that have been following Clinton, some of her own partisans, are going to study what the alt-right is, and some of them will conclude that it's better than what they're a member of now, just like they did with libertarianism. They looked it up. When Clinton and all of these others started attacking third parties through the media, people started looking up what those third parties represented. There's a reason why they suddenly rose, not just Johnson, but also Jill Stein and her socialist movement, which is what the Green Party is, shortly thereafter. It didn't take very long, a couple of weeks. Can you say that Trump right now is probably chuckling? Then you've got this other moron. I can't even remember his name because he's so irrelevant. That other Republican who's saying, oh, well, now I'm the anti-Trump Republican, who's probably got like 10 supporters in the entire country, and just making an ass of himself. Again, another boring persona to represent the flip side of the establishment that's already been mortally wounded by Trump, and is dying out now to the point where they have to endorse Hillary Clinton. By the way, I will remind you, the alt-right is not homogenous on any of these sort of online communities. A lot of the people there were Ron Paul libertarians, right libertarians. They saw how the Republican Party treated this movement, which could have reformed it, could have made it better, could have made it more viable as far as the youth vote went, and would have destroyed Obama trying to seek a second term. We would have President Ron Paul right now if he had actually been the nominee. He would have won. I can tell you that with a straight face. You may think, oh, well, he's old and weird and cracks weird jokes and he's kind of funny or a lunatic. He would have won. Trust me. He would have stolen basically the entire youth vote from the Democratic Party. Obama would have sat there being unable to do anything. He could have outraised and outspent Paul 100 times over and it wouldn't have meant anything. So the Republican Party ignored reform the last time around, and jerry-rigged boring asshole Romney in there, magic underwear man himself, who was incapable of even being differentiated from Obama on 99% of issues. That's why Obama won re-election, because the Republicans were being stupid. Now you've got somebody who is reforming the party by force. He's not giving them an option. Like it or not, he is now the standard bearer of the Republican Party. And all those same corporatists that tried to prevent Ron Paul from getting in there all of a sudden magically support Hillary. The idea that everyone that supports Trump is part of this, populist, nativist, nationalistic alt-right, it's just not the case. There are a lot of libertarians supporting him. Some of which, they just got turned off by Johnson's message. By the way, he did finally come out unmistakably now against the TPP. That's a good thing. Then, of course, he endorses a carbon tax. It's like, what the hell are you doing, Johnson? I think he's going after the Clinton supporters by trying to out-left her on certain issues. I think, honestly, I think he's actually more positive towards Trump, and so he's trying to ingratiate himself towards liberals to steal him away from Hillary. He's attacking Trump because he knows, Trump's fans aren't going to abandon him, but then maybe Clinton supporters will come over and back me. I think that's what he's doing. Now, Hillary is about to kick the hornet's nest, and her campaign's going to get stung. And it's going to be funny to watch if she makes this speech. Now, maybe she'll renege on it. She'll say, maybe after all it wasn't a good idea. Sorry, I'm sick today. I have to take a day off campaigning. I'm moving it back another month or so, and then she'll forget about it. She could end up doing that, but if she actually goes forward with it and mentions the mere term alt-right on a national stage, all those people watching who don't know what the alt-right is, they're going to look it up. We're in the internet age now. We're not in the TV age. They're not just going to hear it on TV, take her definition for granted as true, and say, alt-right evil, Hillary Clinton good, liberalism good, neoliberalism good, Wall Street apparently funding her campaign is good for us somehow. Not going to do that. Anyone who's young or adept enough is going to look it up, and some of those people are going to agree with the ideology that they see there, because they're going to get that information from people who are capable of making a coherent argument in favor of the alt-right. They're not going to maybe get it off the Daily Stormer or something like that. They'll be getting it from like Ramsey Paul. They may even see some of them, videos that I've made referencing the alt-right. I don't, by the way, have a problem with the alt-right. Some alt-righters go a little bit further than I would feel comfortable with. Mud degeneracy, gay marriage, and we should get rid of that, and transgendered people should be, beaten or something. I don't even think that's really alt-right rhetoric so much as skinheads who have sort of infiltrated the movement. They're like the Sea Kyle 1488 crowd. Now, but this is going to bite her in the ass, make no mistake. You think it's going to increase her poll numbers? Anyone who's ever going to support Hillary is already on board with her. She can only go down from here. That's going to be her biggest problem. She's only even doing this, she's trying to generate attention to detract from the fact that everyone now in the media has no choice but to report on the absolute terror that are her scandals. Because there are so many of them, they're so prevalent now between Clinton Foundation, new emails talking about her looking up like head injuries and asking people in the NFL about them, looking up anti-anxiety drugs, Huma Abedin taking burner material, classified intel, and stashing it unsecured in the front seat of a limo or something, and then was going to meet with the Indian ambassador or something and had to put it in the trunk to keep him from seeing it. I mean, these people are retarded. There's no other word for it. I used to use this sort of as a blanket term anytime someone did something screwy. But there's literally no other term that's quite enough to describe what the Clinton campaign has been. And it looks like it didn't start just with her campaigning. It goes back to as soon as she got into the State Department, immediately she began making stupid mistakes. Yeah, if you're going to be corrupt, you'd better at the very least be good enough at being corrupt so you don't get caught out being corrupt. Nixon learned this the hard way. Look at Teapot Dome or something like that, for somebody pointed that out as a comparison. Okay, I can accept the comparison, I guess. What Hillary's done is 1,000 times worse than any other scandal we've seen in our history. Short of an assassination or something like that, I can't think of anything quite as underhanded as what's going on right now. The mere fact that she has supporters at all still surprises me. I'm surprised she isn't below Jill Stein right now. If you want liberalism, you should be voting for Jill Stein. If you want a moderate platform, you should vote for Gary Johnson. Anyone else should be voting for Trump. There's nobody in this country other than Hillary Clinton who benefits from Hillary Clinton becoming the next president of the United States. And now she wants to tangle with over 9,000 Canadian ship posters and half the population of Australia too. These people live for it. They don't even care what happens in the US elections. These two nations combined comprise probably something comparable to nuclear weaponry as far as how damaging it can become. Any conversation anywhere online, you get one Australian, you get one Canadian, they're derailed instantly. Doesn't matter how much of an adept they are. They can be a total noob at it. Doesn't even matter. They say one thing, thread derailed, forum destroyed, website offline. It's like kryptonite to Batman. Or I mean, Superman, sorry. Almost pissed off everybody who's a superhero fan there for a moment. Almost a little embarrassing. I don't really keep up with superhero stuff, so I guess I get a pass, maybe. No, it's going to be a bad day for Hillary Clinton if she goes through with this speech. Really fucking bad day. She's going to get screwed, blued, and tattooed so hard, oh my goodness. Even thinking about it's a little bit funny, but it's almost sad. Because her CTR shills, no matter how many thousands of them she has on call that day, are going to be so overwhelmed with work and take such a beating that it's almost going to be sad. You have to feel sorry for these people having to deal with that sort of stuff when the candidate that you're being paid to shill for is so totally inept that she can't even manage an email server, far less a political campaign. Then you got your work cut out for you. These people should just abandon ranks. Somebody should be a mole, get into CTR, and use their programs against them somehow or something. Somebody should just take it down from the inside. It really has no place anyway in American politics, that sort of underhanded stuff. The very existence of Correct the Record should be a pretty good indicator of how corrupt Hillary Clinton is and how much baggage she has that she has to pay people to pretend to support her online. It's pretty damn sad. So yeah, go after the alt-right if you want. Don't say I didn't warn you. But I've got my helmet here, because there's going to be some shit flying around pretty damn soon if she actually makes that speech. Might have to sleep with it on. I don't want a slug of Australian shit to come flying in the window and smack me in the head, get all through my hair. Then I'll look a little bit like Hillary Clinton's colon or something like that. That's about all. Peace out.